Yeah, NBA Straya, how are you going? How are you going? Hope you're right. You should be, because it is Friday, November 15, TGIF, am I right? All day. And I'm your host, James Clements. You can also see my ugly mug on the panel, the official NBL Supercoach show, the AFL Today show, and of course, NFL Australia, and lots of other things. It's just what we do. I'm here back in Larry Armour Studios. It is a lovely Friday afternoon. And we've only got one game. So I thought I'd throw in just 5 quick overreactions to the start of the season. We also got the City Edition jerseys reactions, which is fun. We'll throw in the Week 3 power rankings in there too. And then we'll pick and preview all of the NBA Cup Day 2. That's right, the NBA Cup is back. We've got a huge slate tomorrow, the Saturday morning here in Australia, which is awesome. So we'll dig right into that, which will be fun because it'll be a very brief game wrap, etc. Because there's only the one. There's not actually a giant amount of news either way, so we should sort of just jump into it, go hammer and tongs, and get you set up for a big weekend of hoops. NBA Cup. These Saturdays are going to be very, very fun. I'm just saying. Get hungover. Just start drinking now, so your hangovers tomorrow are just chaos, and you can just lay in bed, lay on the couch. I mean, if you've got kids, you're like, just get it. Your dad's watching the mum's watching the telly, all that good stuff. We'll have the wrap from today. We've got That's Not a Knife, Old Mate, No Mate, Spud of the Night, Better Lonzo Ball. There'll be the Yeah Nahs, the unpopular opinion of the day. We'll react to every single one of those City Edition jerseys. That's fun. And then we'll have a quick Outback Takehouse where we're serving up a flame grill take. We'll throw in a quick Luke Longley Memorial Role Player of the Week, which is just a quick tribute to Robert Williams, I think. And then we'll pick and preview all those games for NBA Cup tomorrow and the rest of the weekend as well. So Sunday and Monday's game, all of those games, we'll pick and preview them. That'll be fun, won't it? Yes, Jim, it will be. That's right. All right, let's get into it. Episode 1155 of NBA Straya. Jeez, that's a lot. Let's go!
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gaze.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Darcy Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
Hi, this is Ryan Brockhoff.
This is Mitch Creek.
This is Nick Kay.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening and watching NBA Straya.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the Shaq Attack.
You better watch out for the bloody engagement farming Twitter content. What do you mean, Jim? Well, I don't know. You know how on Twitter there's all those dorks who are like, here's the thing that's interesting and here's a thread of all the things that are interesting about that thing. And you're like, shut up, nerd. But anyway, Shaq hasn't tweeted. I have tasked old mate, who's going to be in the States all next week. Speaking of which, we might only have 3 shows next week. I don't know how I'm going to do it looking after both the squids. We'll figure that out. It is chaos. But anyway, she has been tasked for tracking down Shaq-alicious XL gummies. I'm just saying, that's her one job in the United States of America. That's going to make this bit sing. I'm just saying. But also, there's one of those stupid X.com, the everything app. Why are they sponsoring me? Why am I even saying that? Sponsor us, Twitter. Anyway, I'll call it Twitter until they sponsor me to call it X. There you go. Anyway, one of those nerds on there is like basically doing the engagement farming. He's like, here's a thread of big NBA players. And you're like, yes, we understand that NBA players are big. And it's like, this is also a relation to normal things. And you're like, yeah. So the Shaq Attack is, Shaq is the king of making everyday things look microscopic. It's him holding up a regular-sized donut. And you're like, yeah, Shaq does make a donut look pretty bloody small. And even like a normal water bottle, it's like, yeah. There's like Bill Walton, standing next to people. You've got Manute Bol in the famous picture of him in the pool, etc. Kawhi Leonard's hands, but yeah, the Shaq Attack is just like, he's big. I'll pay that. Right, let's start today's show the way we start every show here at NBA Show with the Daily. It's a whip around as a gym. Yep, D'Anthony Melton is dealing with an ACL sprain for the Warriors. That sucks. But outside of that, look, there's no timeline yet for him to return, but they don't seem wildly concerned, which is good. So fingers crossed he's all right. Happy days there. And on top of that, there's not a giant amount of other sort of news, which is why I wanted to throw in basically the sort of vibe of the 5 most, overreacted sort of storylines that we could look at this year so far. So, I don't know. But I did want to hit on one more Shaq thing. He was asked about what Jokic needs to basically do to be considered top 5 center of all time. And Shaq says he's on that list already. And Shaq says, I'm not on that list. I'm like, what? So Shaq's got to watch out for the Shaq Attack for himself. Which is good. Also, Dwight Howard was like, hey, OKC, you should sign me. And everyone's like, nah, we're good. All right. Let's do it. Let's do 5 overreactions to the start of this NBA season. Overreaction number 1. The Sixers are cooked. They're done. Embiid is already old-timey Shaq. They're fine. Settle down. They're 2-9, but they'll be fine. Why is that, Jim? Well, there's 3 teams in the entire Eastern Conference that are above 500. 3! The Knicks are the 4 seed, and they're under 500. They're 5 and 6. So, even though they've got 9 losses on the ledger already, they should be okay. Why is that, Jim? Well, you see, basically the Sixers went 47 and 35 last year. They finished off by winning 8 straight. The 10 seed last year was actually already 10 games under 500. So, literally, you need 30, basically, that was the 46-36 Hawks, I think it was in the 10 spot. So they need 34 more wins in 71 more games. That's not even 500 pace at this point. They've got 1 or 2 losses up their sleeve. So literally 500 the rest of the way, you're laughing. Presumably, and this is where it gets tricky for the Sixers. So Embiid and Paul George will miss at least 14 games the rest of the season, right? Because they have 14 more back-to-backs. And what are Embiid and Paul George not going to do? Play in back-to-backs. That's right. I'm glad you're following along. But they are looking at alternating Paul George and Embiid in those back-to-backs. So presumably they'll have Embiid and Paul George in 57 of their remaining 71 more games. Are we doing maths here? We're doing maths here. All right, strap in. Jim's doing maths. I'm going to get lost in the morass of the maths. But seriously, in 57 of their remaining 71 games, I'll have either Embiid or Paul George. In 57 of those 71 games, do you think they'll go 500 in those 57 games? Let alone the 71. They should be right. That's 57 they could both play in as well, just saying, if they wanted to. And considering that the Sixers essentially ripped off that sort of pretty hefty win streak towards the back half of the season, I think they'll be okay. The thing is, get the Maxey injury out of the way right now, because you know what you're doing? You're getting Jared McCain right up to speed, right off the bat, and he has been awesome. You don't think Jared McCain will be better served down the road come February, come March, for having gotten starters minutes in November? Of course he will be. The Sixers will be fine. They've got Caleb Martin. They've got Big Booty Kyle Lowry. You keep Andre Drummond on ice here and there. You get Yabu back into NBA shape and speed, and they'll be okay. They'll be right. So even with the 14 more back-to-backs, where Embiid will be missing one of those 14 games, so you got 14 sets of back-to-backs. That's what I'm saying, right? So there's 14 games that he will miss. Amazingly, they've got a bunch of those nationally televised games that he can't sit out. So there's a bunch of games that you lock in him playing there, and Paul George probably may be playing in that one too. So we'll see what happens. But I think the Sixers will be right. I think the death knell and the death of the Sixers has been wildly over-exaggerated. Dyson Daniels should be Defensive Player of the Year. That's an overreaction, but not by much. So I think the overreaction is warranted here, because I think the Hawks may have also reversed this, in trading for DeJounte Murray in the first place and getting absolutely just bent over. I think they've almost reversed that, because in trading DeJounte Murray to the Pelicans, they've gotten a huge return in Dyson Daniels, Larry Nance, let alone the pick, and away we go. Dyson is this far ahead in terms of like the all-time season record for deflections, right? So we talk about Defensive Player of the Year and think about Marcus Smart. He was the first guard since Gary Payton back in 95-96 to win Defensive Player of the Year. Marcus Smart finished that season ranked 7th in steals per game at 1.6. Dyson is averaging 3.6 already! Woo! And, I mean, that team did lead the lead in defensive rating and points allowed per game. But by the same token, Marcus Smart was like the third best defender on that team. Like, it was a bit silly. Time Lord was awesome. Like, you had Jaylen Brown. Anyway, he was also 5th amongst all NBA guards with a defensive rating of 105.2. And he was actually leading the league in 1.1 loose balls recovered per game. So, he finished tied for 10th in deflections at 106. Dyson Daniels already has 76 deflections through 10 games. Marcus Smart won Defensive Player of the Year with 106. He's only 30 behind him. It's only been 10 games. Defensive Player of the Year in a canter, son. I love this. 3.6 steals a game already. He's already at 76 deflections. The record is 302. He's on pace to go for over 600. It's amazing. And I think when you look at this and just go, oh, Dyson Daniels, yeah, pretty bloody good, Jim. Yeah, I don't think we're quite understanding just how good. Like, that is seriously, 76 deflections already through 10 games, 3.6 steals a game. He is going to be breaking and shattering defensive records left, right, and center as a guard, and will make a very good case. Despite the Hawks probably being not very good, he'll be out there making a pretty bloody good case himself for Defensive Player of the Year. Like, it is getting a little bit ridiculous. I'm just saying. So, if you track defensive stats, and I assume all of you do, just like me, I mean, we're just getting to, like, in terms of like defensive win shares and stuff like that, they're just like a silly, weird one. But you have like steal percentages and stuff. You have defensive ratings for the actual players who have played like specific numbers of games, etc. So, you know, it's just a really amazing sort of setup where if you look at, yeah, it's only been, 10 games, etc. But you go to defensive rating of like people who are actually playing, you know, decent minutes, etc. And he is crushing it. So, yeah, just saying, he's going to be fine and he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. And I don't think it's any sort of actual, you know, losing your mind over it. Cason Wallace has been good. Jared Jackson Jr. has been good. Dylan Brooks has been good. SGA has been handy. But yeah, our man's is right there. Let's go Dyson Daniels. Overreactions, Miami. This one I actually believe in. Miami might miss the playoffs. Jim, what? They're 14th in offensive rating so far, 18th, I think, in defensive rating, which is probably not great. Actually, those might be actually reversed. Just give me 1 second. How did you write them down, Jim? Yeah, apparently not great. Yeah, 18th offense, 14th defense, I think. Because, I mean, the defense for the Heat is always going to be their calling card. They're 14th at the moment. There's actually a big gap. They're behind the Detroit basketballing Pistons. And you've got Jimmy Butler averaging his fewest points per game in a decade. He's shooting 15% from three so far when he actually takes a three. He's averaging a 16 and like roughly a 16, 5 and 5. He's not actually getting to those fives. I'm just saying. So Miami just look bereft at this point. It's like the Tyler Hero, Terry Rozier, Bam Adebayo show. And that's not a good show. So people going, I think the overreaction might be, Miami will be fine. Heat culture will be fine. They'll be all right. Probably not. Like, those are very, very, very middling offensive and defensive ratings. And it feels like the offense is pretty overrated. And that's been held up by, like, the fact that that's 18th. I mean, Lord, that could probably dip a lot more. And the defense doesn't have a giant higher ceiling, I think, than the 14th at the moment. Miami are a bit cooked. Nikola Jokic will win a 4th MVP. Not entirely convinced this is much of an overreaction because he's averaging 29.7 points a game. That's 5th in the league. He's averaging 13.7 rebounds. That's first in the league, and 11.7 assists, which is also tops in the NBA. So, to recap, he's 5th in scoring, 1st in rebounds, and 1st in assists. He's shooting 56.3% from the floor and 56.4% from 3, which is ridiculous. He's averaging a career high in blocks per game of 1, and also 1.7 steals. But at the same time, if you look at his defensive metrics, he's just bloody good. If you want to talk about deflections, he's always right up there. There's a reason why his team's good. Because he might not look like the world's greatest defender, but he's bloody good and eats up a lot of space and has hands like a frickin' Serbian cat. And him winning his 4th MVP would not be in any way, shape, or form overreaction. He should. Like at the moment, Giannis is just crushing it. He's putting up amazing stats, but his team stinks. Whereas Denver, they've righted the ship. They're fine. Like Giannis is like leading the league in scoring at 33.3. He's also putting up 1 millionty rebounds. I think, what is it? 12.1 per game. His assists aren't bad either. Your old Giannis. But by the same time, he's at 5.5. But yeah, his team's getting killed. So anyway, and the final one, overreaction. The Cavs are never going to lose again. No, look, this is more about the Cavs are going to win the title. Or are the Cavs the new old Warriors? So I said on yesterday's show, 4 of the previous 5 teams to go 13-0 made the finals. The only one was the 03 Mavs didn't make it. But if you dig into the numbers a little bit more and you're like, the Cavs are legit because Kenny Atkinson has sorted out their rotation. They've got a deeper wing rotation as well at the moment, and everyone's healthy, which is actually pretty important when it comes to the Cavs. They're 13-0 because Mitchell and Mobley play really well together. They're a plus 13.9 net rating. And Darius Rucker, Judy Garland, and go the throw Jared Allen, that's not too far behind either at plus 8.4. So Kenny Atkinson has gone, right, so you two play well together, you two play well together. How about we just play you two together a bunch? And it's working in a surprise twist. All I'm saying, the parallels with the 15-16 Golden State Warriors is a bit ridiculous. Smarter coach takes over from a bit of a Spud. Check. That was Steve Kerr, Mark Jackson. This is our man Kenny Atkinson taking over JB Bickerstaff. They've got a settled roster. 15-16 Warriors. This is before Kevin Durant lobs on. This is the Warriors that win 73 bloody games. They were settled. They won the title, the year before, and they knew what they were doing. That's exactly what the Cavs are doing as well, right? Oh, the 15-16 Warriors, they've had the switch of the coaches. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So basically, it's not exactly the same year, but here we go, the 15-16. So they start 13-14-0. They win 24 straight games to those 15-16 Warriors. They were absolutely on a tear. They had the settled roster. They had a new coach who was figuring all their stuff out. Steve Kerr had led them to the title the year before. Their defense, at the moment, the Cavs, is 6th in defensive rating and 2nd in offensive. The Warriors, at this point through their first 13 games where they were 13-0, were 7th in defensive rating and 1st in offensive rating. It's almost exactly the same. They finished 6th and 1st, respectively, as well. That's exactly the pace the Cavs are traveling on. Just saying. And the crazy part is, if you look at the Cavs' schedule, you're like, so their next actual big test, they play the Bulls at home, which is fun. Big one. Then they have the Hornets. Then they go to Boston. That is going to be an absolute rip snorter. If they get by the Bulls, Charlotte, and then Boston, they play the Pelicans, the Raptors, the Hawks back to back. So that could be 1, 2, 3. So they could be at 16-0 if they beat the Celtics. They could be at 17, 18, 19, 20-0 before they play the Celtics again at the start of December. Not an overreaction to think that, they could kick some ass, take some names, and go on and be the 15-16 Warriors, who didn't win the title. I'm just saying, but still, pretty bloody good. 2 other overreactions. Are they for real? Wemby can't shoot. Yep, he's figured that out, hasn't he? So he was at 22%. We were talking about it the other day. And then Wemby's just gone, check this out. I am actually really tall and extremely good. So I shall actually, instead of hitting 22% of my threes, I shall instead now hit 36 of them. Is it, I think, for the season already, back up to 34% because he's hit, what was it? Like bloody 6, 6, and 8. Yeah, it's not bad, not bad. Hit 23s in 3 games, he says. And Golden State are back. Is that an overreaction? I don't think so, just because if you look at where their defense is, it's top 4 and the offense is top 3. So they've earned that. Steph is firing. They beat the Mavs yesterday. It was amazing. Let's go. Golden State are for real because they're deep. I don't know how that's going to help them out in the playoffs because they don't have that top end talent, but they are at the moment defensively a scary proposition. And now that they've got your man Steph Curry back, they're the 3rd best offense. It's pretty good. They're 9-2. They're flying. Love it. That is not much of an overreaction. All right, let's go do some game wraps. Game wraps. All right, just the one game wrap today, and I'll tell you what, it was an absolute blinder because Dallas just can't get out of their own bloody way anymore, can they? No Kyrie Irving, and Dallas go into Utah at 5-6 and emerge 5-7, having lost because Luka had a brain fart at the end of that game and completely cost his team a win by just going, defense, what's that? Great job by Luka. Of course, they aren't in this game without him, but in a game that they lose by 2 points, he's a -8 in his 38 minutes. Do you think Luka's getting a bit of the old defensive deficiencies basically picked on a little bit here? Because the Jazz definitely were like, we're going to put a bit of action, Jordan Clarkson, and then check this out. Boom. As soon as Luka falls asleep, which he will while he's ball watching, boom, back cut in your face. John Collins was massive in this one. Dallas completely cooked it. Shouldn't have been down as much as they were. Utah ran over the top in the 3rd quarter and was just putting him to the sword until Luka and co sort of woke up. Najee Marshall was awesome and then ends up with the last shot of the game. Luka bounce passes it to him, though, so the ball gets to him a little bit late. Airballs it. Utah win. Chaos reigns. Jeremy Clarkson crushed it. That was very fun. So for the Alice Mavericks, remember, they don't play defense anymore. It's like you've got Klay Thompson. Oh, we're going to outscore everybody. What happens when Kyrie Irving doesn't play? Yeah, you apparently can only put up 113 points on the Utah Jazz. Quick reminder, Utah is not good. They are the 27th ranked defense. So, yeah, you should probably be able to do a little bit better than they were. Luka ends up with 37, 7, and 9 with 3 turnovers, but shoots 13 and 25, 4 of 13 from downtown, and has the brain fart that cost his team the game. 17 for Klay Thompson at 5 threes. He had 15 for Q Grimes, very handy. But Derek Lively, Maxi Clearbar both play 17 minutes. They go small for a bunch of this. Gafford played 19 minutes as well. He had 10 and 5. He had 19 for Najee Marshall, who only went 0 of 2 from 3. So this is the Najee Marshall sort of that we're expecting, but it wasn't quite there, was it? Outside of that, they shot 50%. They hit 30% of their threes. They had 17 turnovers, got to the line 20 times, and got out-rebounded by 10 by Utah. It was brutal. For the Yaz, it's a soft J. 28 and 9 for John Collins. It's a tall cocktail. 16 for the sex man Colin Sexton. 13 and 5 for Larry Markkinen. He only played the 24 minutes returning from his injury. Filipowski was really good. 14 and 7. And 20 for Jeremy Clarkson. Not bad. Keontae George, 14 and 6 as well. But look, the Jazz absolutely took it to Dallas. Completely cool. I thought this is the get-right game for Dallas. Even without Kyrie, I'm like, they're fine. This is basically just run everything through Luka. They did, and it wasn't enough because he just wasn't quite efficient enough. You know? And defensively, he's just a minus at this point. You're like, this is not great. It's really not great. So that leaves, 3 and 8 for the 3 and 8 for the Yaz, 5 and 7 for the Mavs. And it is getting towards just, where we're going to ask about worrying teams, and Dallas are definitely there. Like, you need to worry about this defense that doesn't have a Josh Green lever to pull anymore. Spencer Dinwiddie just stinks now. He went 0 of 2 in his 16 minutes. It's just, this entire team is sort of built around Luka, and he sucks on defense. Klay Thompson's cooked when it comes to D. And suddenly Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford just can't sort of clean up everything. And so Dallas are just not very good defensively, and they're getting killed because of it. So here we are. They were ranked 10th in defensive rating, but their offense is also just a bloody trash fire at this point. Also in 10th, but it's going to be dipping. So not great there from Dallas. I'm a little bit worried. It's not panic stations yet because Kyrie sort of set this one out. Luke is carrying an injury, but geez, still a little bit worrying. All right, NBA Straya Pro Performer of the Night.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Yeah, I'm going to give this to John Collins. That's a tall cocktail. And Jordan Jeremy Clarkson, that last play of the game was very, very, very nice. For the simple fact that Jordan Jeremy Clarkson sort of lulled everybody into a false sense of security and then goes bang. But also for all the buckets that he scored. Colin the Sexman Sexton was very handy, but Clarkson's three towards the start of the fourth quarter and then sort of just hit a couple of extra ones just to keep them up. And the and one that he had to break they were down, back down 110, 108. And then off he goes. Then John Collins has the dunk, the two back-to-back dunks to finish out the game. And they win. So both of them, very excellent stuff there. How about Spud of the Night? Spud, 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 it is Spud of the Night. I already mentioned him, but yeah, Spencer Dinwiddie, 16 minutes, 0 of 2 from the floor. He is not going great. He's had games so far this month, 1 of 8, 1 of 2, 0 of 1, 0 of 2, 0 of 1. Yeah, like he had one half-decent game against the Pacers when he played 23 minutes. He had 14 points. Outside of that, his highest-scoring game in November is 5 points. Spencer Dinwiddie might be just a little bit cooked. 0 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, a block and 2 steals, 2 turnovers, 0 of 2 from the floor. That is a bit of a spot. Who's old mate, no mates?
Old mate, no mate.
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 Who's got no mates today? That would be one Luke Doncic. That just completely falling asleep on that last play. You can see all of his teammates just looking at him going, what the hell is that? Bro, are you serial? Oh my Lord. And like no one can really shit talk him because he's like the best player on the bloody team. But you know, all of them were just like, oh, this guy sucks. What a pain in the ass. Yeah, it's definitely a bit of an old mate, no mates. And that also goes for a bit of a pantsing. Because that is a pantsing. Like if you on a bloody, like the way that Klay Thompson hits the shot to bloody tie it all up, and here we go. And then John Collins just gets an easy dunk because Luka falls asleep. That is an absolute pantsing of a win. Great job, everybody. Great job. Who was better than Lonzo Ball / Bronny James?
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, I made it to the pros, now I can be average. He's coming for everybody.
Coming for everybody. I do love a bit of Jaden Hardy. He played 22 minutes today, went 3 of 6. He had 7 points, 2 rebounds, 3 steals and an assist. He also had 3 turnovers. How about Keontae George with his 14 and 6 with 2 steals too? He went 4 of 7 from downtown. Not bad. You could even say Johnny Juzang. But he had 0 points, 1 assist, 1 steal. But that's more than Lonzo, who's injured. So you get that on the big jobs. But it is Friday, so that means it's time for everybody's favorite weekly segment. That happens probably twice a week because I think we do it on the Mondays as well, which is always fun. It is the Magic Tweet of the Week. Cookie and I want to congratulate and say how proud we are of Muzzy Mosley for officially signing with LSU. We also want to congratulate his parents and our good friends Jerry and Tamiko Mosley, who have been such an important part of this journey. Okay, thanks, Magic. The other one's a great one. Looking forward to watching my Commanders play the Eagles tonight. Thanks, Magic. And finally, congratulations, my friends Stephen A. Smith and Al Roker for being honoured as a 2024 Giant of Broadcasting by the Library of American Broadcasting Foundation. Clapping emoji. What do we say? Thanks, Magic. I love it. He's just not touching the Lakers at the moment. That's interesting. All right, finally, Dickhead of the Week. Dickhead of the Week. Yeah, probably Dwight Howard for saying, like, hey, man, you should definitely sign me up, OKC. It's like, I don't know if we need that vibe on OKC, you know what I'm saying? Just don't know if you need that at all. Like, they'll get Isaiah Hartenstein back as well, so it'll be fine. It's all good. All right, let's go do some yeah-nahs right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Kadee.
This is Daryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA
And you're listening
Straya.
to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, let's do some yeah-nahs. I'll tell you what. Loving these yeah-nahs at the moment. Is the NBA Cup catching on? We've got day 2 tomorrow. Yeah-nah, yes. So much so that I think going back to the normal court sucks. This is a bit of an Outback Takehouse, but I kind of want more interesting courts all the time now. To the point where, hey, remember that LED court we had for the All-Star game last year? I know that they had some problems with it being a bit slippery, but can't we have just a point where we've got an LED court and we're just kind of changing it up? Like, there's something nice and traditional, yes, but I tell you what, the thing is, I understand that, yeah, you want to keep the NBA Cup special, but I'm just saying, it's weird to go back to the normal courts and go, this is boring. Like, can't we just maybe just incorporate some LED aspects of it so it changes it just a little bit? Like, maybe we've got different sort of colors in the paint or something like that. Maybe the logo at center court just changes every so often. Just saying. I'm an ideas man. And this is the entire idea behind the NBA just hiring me as their vice president of common goddamn sense. Low 6-figure salary. That's all I ask, Adam Silver. And I will you could sit me in a room, if you're the NBA, probably this room, if we're being honest, and just go, Jim, give us 150 ideas to make the NBA better over the course of this next year. And you're telling me I've got 12 months to come up with 150 ideas in the ways I can make the NBA better. Mate, I could do that in a week and a half, and then I'd realize that'd be stupid to tell them that because I need that year to flesh it all out. But you think about this, just about every Outback Takehouse I come up with, or unpopular opinion today, is usually a way to make the NBA better. Whether it be trade ideas, just ways to do stuff, whatever. And I'm doing over 200 shows a year, so we are laughing, son. Come on. Anyway. But the NBA Cup is definitely catching on. Like, you could see the interest around it because they literally have a name for it. It was the obvious name, the NBA Cup. I'm not going to say Emirates NBA Cup because they're not sponsoring me. Just saying. So NBA Cup is right there, boom. It's very simple, it's very obvious, and it says what it is on the tin. It's the NBA Cup. It's the in-season tournament. Having to call it the bloody in-season tournament last year was silly. Thing is, as I've said, extend this all the way through to January, whatever it is, for like the New Year's Day games, maybe the Christmas games, or like the final, whatever. If you want to have a crack at the NFL and get people really engaged with your product, I'm just saying extend it even more, and we're laughing. But these are baby steps. We're off to a flyer. All the time and effort they've put into explaining it, people are still confused by it. But blacking out Tuesdays and Fridays for NBA Cup was very good. I love this. Let's keep doing it. Are we right to be getting worried about the Knicks, Wolves, Bucks, and kind of the Mavs? Yeah, nah. Yeah. So we've already made the case at the start of the show, the overreaction about the Sixers being cooked and Embiid as a spud now and they're all just done. That's a bit of an overreaction. Being worried about the Knicks is not, because if you think about the Knicks, you're like, what's their hallmark, Jim? Well, I'd say defense. They're currently ranked 20th in defensive rating. Amazingly enough, their offense has been carrying them. And you're like, oh, I guess that's the entire thing. You get Karl Anthony Towns. Your offense is a little bit better. Jalen Brunson and he are sort of still figuring stuff out, but your defense has gotten a little bit worse. But it's like, wait, you added Mikal Bridges, who was on an the second in Defensive Player of the Year voting a few years ago. He's been on all defensive teams, and he's apparently just forgotten how to play defense in Brooklyn. and a big actual rim protector is out there all the time, how were you better on defense last year with O'Shea Hartenstein, a bit of Mitch Robinson and Don't know, but here we are. So I'm a bit worried by Tibbs sort of trying to like slowly figuring that out. But I mean, this is when we talk about this in the power rankings, it's like this is a team that's still figuring stuff out. The Wolves are in the same boat, considering they had Karl Anthony Towns. They traded him for Julius Randle and Dom DiVincenzo. The thing is, the Ant-Man jump hasn't happened. He's been basically very similar to last year. He's been slightly, like, obviously a lot more threes, but then he has a stinker like they did in Portland. Just 2 days of absolutely spudding it up. And that's where you go, okay, the takeover should be happening. And even in like bad games like that, I don't want to be seeing Ant-Man go 0 of 9 from 3. Like that's just, you can go look and go, maybe that's a blip on the radar, but it's a bloody big blip. The Bucks, obviously, their problems are myriad, but mostly it's because they're old and they suck on defense, right? Defensively, they are an absolute bloody train wreck. They're up to 16th, but in terms of offense as well, like they're down in 21st. Like, so Dame is meant to lift your offensive ceiling. It hasn't happened. Giannis is playing out of his mind. That's keeping them afloat. Their defense is like just middling, and that's where they are now. So you should be a bit worried. Middleton coming back at some point will probably help that wing defense a little bit. He and Taurine, the Red Bull Prince. But just their lack of speed, like they're slowly trying to figure that out, though, by bringing in AJ Green and their young dudes. So you should be worried, but it's not panic stations just yet like it looked the other day. It did take overtime to get past Detroit, but geez. Are the Lakers going to be all right? They've got a 0.1 point differential and they're 7-4, Jim. It took everything for them to get by that Memphis team yesterday that had like nobody. It's Triple J. But the Lakers will be okay as long as Anthony Davis is healthy. That is literally the entire season for them. AD healthy, we good. AD not healthy, oh, we rooted. You know? All right. Unpopular opinion of the day. This is where we are going to talk out through every single one of these Nike City Edition jerseys. And, I don't know, just sort of have some thoughts.
Now look at me, please. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
All right, so the City Edition jerseys have been announced and shown to everybody. How are we feeling? Should we start in the East? Because they've announced all. We'll go East and then West. So the Hawks is like the heritage blue and the buttery brown. The curviness is like, sure. I'm not going to lie. It's a bit boring, but by the same token, it still kind of looks like a Hawks uniform. Like one of the awesome old red and yellow ones. So they've sort of just almost inverted the sort of shading and coloring. So they've gone the blue and the brown, buttery brown, yellowy. And it's kind of okay. But it's just okay, you know? So that's all right. It'll look good on the court, I reckon. The Celtics one stinks. Like it's just like the neon green and the black with like the piping on the side. I don't know how the Celtics can screw up a jersey. You have the best color scheme in the NBA. What are you doing? That is just, it stinks. It stinks. It stinks. It's like, oh, it celebrated the origin of the game, and this is going future. It's a future jersey. It's a crappy jersey. It looks like a bloody clock. It's the bloody clock font. Like your alarm clock. It sucks, Boston. Get a hold of yourselves, you idiots. Brooklyn looks pretty gnarly because they've sort of gone with their funky City Edition one where they've basically just gone with the same one that they had. Was it Cause is the artist? And it's like the funky sort of Brooklyn lettering. And then like the weird sort of camo thing. The problem is it's grey. Don't do grey uniforms. It's not rocket surgery. It looks like dog shit on the court. Don't bloody do it, Brooklyn. It's not hard. You've got black and white. How about we go in between them and have like, you know, grey? How about you fucking not? It's a shit jersey. Fuck you. Blow it out your ass, Brooklyn. I do love the lettering though. Make the lettering bigger. Incorporate those colours. Cause. Come on, mate. You got to sort that out. Charlotte, this is always beautiful. You've gone the pinstripes. You got the gold. It's just very smart. I don't really like the lettering because it's very similar to Boston with their shitty, oh, it's the future, man. It's like it's a fucking alarm clock. It's not the fucking future, you idiots. Anyway, the Charlotte one looks good because that coloring is kissing fingers emoji. It is so nice. It is so nice. The Bulls, yeah, it's the white jersey. Again, the Bulls have some of the sickest color schemes in the entire NBA, and you're just going to give me the Bulls in a pretty sort of like a matched font that's like on the outside of the building there. Yawn! Next! The Detroit basketball Pistons. Oh, no, Cleveland. Sorry, Cleveland. That's the land. That's just the blue. This actually looks so... There's like the artist rendition of this, which is like the beautiful blue, man. It's the traditional colors of the museum's logo. And you're like, what? Okay. But the actual like land and its like font looks kind of sick. And the actual picture of the jersey looks way better than the artist rendition. So don't mind the Cleveland one. The Piston one looks... I'll tell you what. I yell and yell and yell. This Pistons one actually looks fucking sick. It's very nice. It's very throwbacky. It feels like an ABA, 60s or a 70s ABA jersey. But it's the bad boys mentality. It looks pretty gnarly. I'm here for the Pistons one, just quietly, just saying. Sticking in the East, there we go. We've got Detroit. We've gone to Indy. They've leaned back into their sort of like graffiti-ish fluoro colors. I love that. It looks good. Love it. It's kind of like the same sort of thing, right? So I'm pressing random buttons. What are we doing? Press the bloody thing, Jim. Where's the music gone, bro? I don't know. I've lost it. There you go. Anyway, but that looks good. Indy, I like. The heat culture one is stupid. You guys, like, this is why Miami is failing. It's boring. It's shit. Like, for a city that had the Miami Vice jerseys and they've gone, nah, we're going to full on heat culture. It looks like dog shit. Absolute dog shit. You should be ashamed of yourself and your shit heat culture, Miami. The Milwaukee Bucks, don't mind this. It's like they're sort of big blue. It's pretty good. It's got like the Wisconsin-y kind of like state lines and stuff like that, I reckon. Is that what it says? Yeah. It means Milwaukee means gathering place by the water in a Menowaking. What about Algonquin? I thought it was Algonquin for... What do you think it was? Good land. It's got the Great Lakes blue, and that's the 3 rivers that run through Milwaukee, they reckon. That's interesting. It looks pretty good. And again, the photo of it actually is like a little bit cooler than the artist rendition, I think. But it's not going to look too different, I think, some of their others. The New York one is awesome because it's like an awesome timey throwback one, the 90s and the early 2000s. It's got like the pinstripes as well, so they're trying to do... The pinstripes are hard to see in the actual picture of the jersey, but in the artist rendition, it looks sick. I actually really like that. Go Knicks, good job. The Magic, they've gone the pinstripes as well, but they've also got sort of like this weird extra thing. It looks like a throwback in the picture, but the artist rendition kind of like, it's grey! Don't do bloody grey! I think. They're like, oh, it's got the texture of a suit of armor, which is just stupid because you don't see it properly. But you do have the star replacing the A on Magic, which is always going to be a winner for me. As long as it looks like on the court, and it's really hard to tell. This could look awesome on the court. It could look like dog shit. I'm worried about that Magic one, but it has moments. The Sixers looks amazing because it's got the old-timey font and some beautiful colored piping on the sides. That's really good. The Raptors one is the sick dunking Raptor jersey, but they've already got an awesome one. So this is kind of like just a cheat, and it's a bit lazy. Because it's like a bit of the OVO, the black and gold, but then it's got like the Raptor and the purple. So it's not purple, and it's lazy. It's like they've just shrunken down the Raptor and gone, oh, God, we've got to do another one? Shit, let's combine last year's and the other. Oh, and it's a mess. And then finally, now I saw pictures of this the other day, the Washington Wizards ones, which has got the district, and it's like this old weird-timey, pretty hardcore font. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Like seeing it in the actual artist rendition, okay. The actual jersey, a bit shithouse, but still interesting. All right, Western Conference, the Dallas Mavericks, boring. Oh, we've just gone with sort of like a white thing, but it's also got grey letters and like numbers. It's just about the birthplace of American blues. How is it so goddamn boring then, Mavs? Sort it out. It is just a bit crappy. Seriously. It's like, it's about the grooves, man. Like the Mavs lettering, where they've got like the wavy stuff, looks fantastic, but just white and grey, that's shit house. Denver, the 5280, no one fucking cares about your fucking elevation. Oh, 5280, man, it's how far we are above, like, fucking sea level. Does it change because Jokic is taller than everybody? Anyway, it's fucking stupid. I do love the colors, though, because they've got those rainbow colors. So the side of it looks good, and they've actually incorporated the rainbow, like the mountains, in the 5280. It looks better than it did. I'll pay it. It's okay. Golden State, it's just, look, this is a bit of the We Believe one mixed with some of their other stuff. I want to see it in action. The thing is, Golden State keep doing these jerseys, and some of them are good, some of them are fucked. And I think this is kind of shit and boring and a bit lazy. But the color scheme looks good, you know what I'm saying? So I'm a bit torn. H-Town 24, H-Town 15. It's like, who cares? Oh, this is the city edition. This is what we call the city. We call it H-Town. Again, it's a shit boring jersey though. What are you doing? The Clippers, they called them the Clips, and they've got the it's like the light blue. Again, it's very this is busy work for the work experience kid, that Clippers one. All right, we'll call it the Clips. Now you design it, Jeremy. And like the fucking work experience kid is from some fucking rich family that knows Steve Ballmer, who's like, I don't know, I'll just Clips, and like he's tilted the fucking letters a little bit and then just put the number on and then go, oh, I think I'm done. And they're like, his dad's rich. We can't say that he's fucking shit house. The Lake Show. I think it's silly that they've got the Lake Show written on it. It should still just like LA, Lake Show. I love the colors. Like the fading up of the purple into the black. That looks nice. That is like the LA sunset. If you've been to LA, it's exactly how, like, the purple thing is fucking real. I love it. But why does it say Lake Show? Oh, it's the Showtime Lakers gym. It's the Lake Show. Yeah, that's not the fucking city. Oh, it's so dumb. Have it Hollywood. Something like that. Memphis is beautiful. That's like the Memphis Hustle, awesome 70s one. The Beale Street Blues, that looks just fucking unreal to the point where I wouldn't mind copping one. Minnesota, it's got the iciness. I actually kind of like this as well. It's got like a bit of the coldness. It's like the Thousand Lakes, moonlit sky, Minnesota winters. It's kind of got like but at the same time, your old-timey throwback Wolves. But look, it does look clean. It looks nice. Just like that hint of that Minnesota blue. Looks very cool. NOLA. The New Orleans, they've gone with the NOLA. That looks pretty gnarly as well. It's like the bones. I love this. The bone pattern. It's the bone jersey. It looks good. Love it. Here for it. And I love just like the chaos fucking colors, which is like the bright green and like the dark purple and shit and a bit of the gold. That's great. Thank you, New Orleans. Oklahoma. The OKC. Look, it's not bad. It actually says Oklahoma. But that's not the city edition. That's the state edition, you fucking morons. What are you doing? Still, that'll look pretty cool. The Valley, it's like the old-timey Phoenix Suns lettering. And it's got like a star behind like the number. It's very simplistic. I like the piping on the sides, which is kind of nice. Outside of that, they've kind of gone a bit basic, a bit boring, but that's fine. Rip City, they've sort of done a similar thing with their like pattern, the plaid pattern, but it's like a very boring plaid. Like, go full-blown plaid, you idiots. Like, this is like, oh, it's a really subtle, like, no, it's not subtle. It's just shit. Rip City looks cool. Here for that, but make that bigger and make it full-blown plaid. Stop being cowards. Kings, that's like a throwback of their royal blue back from the Kansas City stuff. That's good, but it's also boring as fuck. It does, like, Kings 24, it's like a throwback to like their actual sort of, you know, the old-timey Sacramento ones. The striping along the sides is like a old-timey one from the Kansas City stuff as well, but still boring. San Antonio is amazing. I love that sort of bluish kind of like light blue and like the awesome sort of the way the 3D lettering, it looks awesome. I love that one. Let's go, San Antonio. Utah, that's a pretty basic. They've done this already. Like, it's the purple, like the mountains in the middle. It looks pretty good, but still. So out of all of them, I'm going to rank all of these next week. Those are the reactions. That's a lot of it. I'll tell you what. Out of all of them, we've probably gone, what, half boring and shit house. Dallas, no. What are we going to say? We're going to say the Celtics shit. Brooklyn, piss weak. Can't go grey, man. You got to go fucking hard or fuck off. Charlotte, amazing. Bulls, that's going to be a bop-on for me. Even though you got the white and it's kind of neat for the thing on the back, I just kind of, nah. H-Town, a bit shit. Mavs, no. Clips, no. Lake Show, you kind of fucked up the name, man. Heat Culture, definitely fucking not. Magic, want to see it in person, maybe. Rip City, look, subtle as shit. It's just going to look like every other jersey you've got. Kings, Raptors completely botched that. And I don't know. So we're at about half and half of good to shit. So we'll rank all of these next week. All right. Time for a very quick. After all of that, Jim, you've actually still got an Outback Takehouse? Yes. It's Friday at Outback. You know what that means? 4-for-1 TGIF oil drum cans full of icy cold Foster's Lager. That's right. You can actually buy it back in Australia now. So get on the tins or piss off. That's right. Only at Outback. And today's Flame Grilled take is, I think the Pels should 100% tank this year. They've already got a bunch of young wings. They've traded for DeJounte Murray. Got no bigs. I don't know. Here's an idea. Trade Zion. Boom. Blow it up. He's always injured. Just fucking reset. Go get Cooper Flag and away you go. Or, screw that. Sit him for the rest of the year. Sit DeJounte for the rest of the year. And trade Brandon Ingram to the Pistons. Go get Paul Reed and protected first and Tobias Harris, which would be funny as hell. Pistons should go all in and go get Brandon Ingram. They should definitely go effort and go get Spindles. I love this. Let's go. Only at Outback. All right, there you go. Let's go to the Straya. Oh, there is no Australian Player Watch. Oh, actually, no, there is. Australian Player Watch right after this from Hammer.
This is Shane Hill, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, let's do it. It's just the Australian Player Watch today for Friday, November 15. Very easy because it was just Patty Mills against the Mavs. Obviously, Dante Exum still injured for the Mavericks, but at least Patty was riding the bench, but he did not play, coach's decision. But he still inspired the guys to a win. And geez, that Mavs team is in trouble. So great job by Patty and the Jazz, I guess. All right. Okay, time for after all that, we've got a Robert Williams Luke Longley Award winner this week. So, Time Lord, just the Luke Longley Award is the role player of the week. Robert Williams, Time Lord, came in during the week for the Blazers for his first, real proper run. And it was awesome. He had 19 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals and 3 blocks and shot 9 of 10 from the floor. He became the first bench player with a 15-point, 3 steals and 3 block game on 90% shooting since James Worthy back in 1983. That's before Luke Longley. That's amazing. So that is a role player coming in going, right, what do I need to do? Help my team. Off we go. Limited minutes, comes in, kicks some ass. That is some role-playing action right there, and that is some Luke Longley memorial gear right there. All right, let's do a bit of a Patty Mills Game Day Ball, a Game Day Twitter check-in, shall we? Let's do it. This is where we look at Patty's Insta, and we'll see what's going on. Let's have a look. Patty with the good hair. Patty. Nothing from Patty. How about Chris Anstey pulling down a tree down at the Hotel Trentham? Go check that out. Awesome pub. Love it. Who else we got? We got Dyson. There you go. Dyson Daniels is posted. That's a good one from Dyson, actually. He's just gone hammer and tongs a bunch of photos. That's awesome. What a legend. Move it or lose it. That's pretty good. A couple of pictures from him on the court in his duds. Looking good. Looking sharp. Playing pool there. It's pretty good. Jesus, he looks jacked. But Dyson's also, just look at how long his arms are. You can see why he's leading the league in steals. Right. Let's do some game previews and picks for the entire weekend. Righto, time for some game previews. Thanks, Inadvertent Bane. Not a problem, Jimmy. You're excited about day 2 of the NBA Cup? You better bloody believe it. We have some cracking games in this NBA Cup day 2 as well. And I'll tell you what, some of the odds have changed a bit dramatically as well. So we had the odds from earlier, and now what they are is a little bit different. So we have a big Saturday. We'll look at the Sunday and Monday head-to-heads as well. But go to the NBA Cup day 2. Let's do it. Here's some picks. We have Philly at Orlando. This was Philly minus 2.5. It is now Orlando minus a half point. I was going to go Philly as favorites. I might still take Philly plus 0.5. I think they can win this outright. It's going to be a fascinating setup because if they roll Joel Embiid out there, they should have a bit of a half-decent chance, I think, in this one, right? So Embiid, Paul George could be good to go. And against the Magic Men, who essentially sort of just, they have these weird moments, you know, where they don't have a giant amount of size. It's a lot of Goga. It's a lot of Johnny Isaac, who's been, you know, fantastic. But I kind of like Philly in that. So I'm going to take Philly. I had them as favorites. I'm taking them as underdogs now. So let's go Philly. Miami visit Indy. Indy are 4.5-point favorites. They have been bitterly disappointing at times, Indy. I'm going to take them at home against the Heat, however, just because I think they can run them off the floor, and I don't know if Miami's offense can keep up. So I think Halliburton and co should be a little bit more confident in their abilities. Like, they obviously, no one on Miami is at the level of Jalen Suggs, and Indy should be at least be able to, you know, get behind a bit of Halliburton and see him drive them to a bit of a win over the Hooters. You have Detroit at Toronto. The Pistons have gone from 2.5-point underdogs to 1.5-point favorites. And I kind of still like Detroit, which is crazy. It is a Dwayne Casey Bowl, and he is no longer the coach of either team, which is fun. But Detroit minus 1.5 against Toronto. Toronto obviously are just starting these weird lineups that are completely janky. Whereas Detroit have got a little bit of something going, and their last run of games has been absolutely absurd and super close, right? Detroit. The last week has seen them play just insane games left, right, and center. There was the 3-point win over the Heat. They go to overtime against the Bucks. They could have won that with one of those 2 free throws from Ron Holland. But they lose that by 7. They had the insane game against Houston where they lost by 2. They beat the Hawks by 1. They lost by 1 to the Hornets. And they beat the Lakers by 12. And then before that, the Nets by 14. So Detroit, there's something brewing there, obviously, and I kind of like them against this janky Toronto team. So we're going to go Detroit minus 1.5. Let's go. We have Washington, Atlanta, the only team that Washington's beaten, right? Which is pretty fun. So this is all, like, remember, the groups are very fun, very interesting, and very weird. Point differential matters. So if Atlanta want to get going, like, they've beaten Boston in the NBA Cup already, Atlanta can further solidify this run by, you know, beating Washington, which is going to take a bit. Like, Washington, they've now got Kyle Kuzma back, but the only 2 wins that Washington have for the season, don't forget, are against Atlanta. So Atlanta are about for a bit of revenge. It's a 7.5-point line, I think now. That's up to 8.5. I'm pretty tempted to actually take Washington at that point, because remember, when Washington lose, they lose big. They had lost by an average of 20.5 points a game. They lost by 14 again the other day. I am going to take Atlanta though. Dyson Daniels and co minus 8.5. Washington have a bit of size, but Atlanta have Onyeka Okongwu and Clint Capella. I think the Hawks, Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels and co should be a little bit too good for the Wiz. So give me the Hawks minus 8.5. Cleveland take on Chicago. Cleveland at home against the Bulls. It's a 10.5-point line, which is just a bit. I'm slightly worried about this, but the Cavs have been pretty good. They are 13-0. And they did beat the Bulls, but it was by 6 the other day. That was in Chicago. This one's at home. It's a big, big, big game. Now, remember, I think the cool thing about these NBA Cup games is, with point differential actually mattering, teams are going to put the hammer down. I feel like Cleveland will want to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, so they have a big point differential, even if they drop that coming NBA Cup game against Boston down the line. So give me Cleveland minus 10.5. There's a big, 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 big gap, I think, between these two teams. At home, Chicago, sort of rate them the plus 10.5, but on the road, we're going to go the minus 10.5. Brooklyn at the Knicks. Fascinating setup. The battle of the boroughs. Who do we like in this one? It's a 10.5. Ooh, it's now a 9.5-point line. I was on the Nets at plus 10.5. I'm still on the Nets at plus 9.5. I think you know that Mikal Bridges will be going hammer and tongs against his old team, but I feel like the Nets in their own burrow might get a little bit overawed. It might be a bit tough to hang with the Knicks, but after they just got absolutely hammered by the Celtics, the Nets will put up a bit of a fight. We've seen them actually, play some really decent teams, pretty close so far this year. This is maybe where the worm turns and everyone realizes, oh, Nets aren't a pushover. We're going to have to try pretty hard, as Boston did the other day and kick their heads in. I'm still going to take Brooklyn plus 9.5, but it is under advisement. After this game, we'll know a little bit more. And if the Nets get their heads kicked in again, we're going off the Nets completely. What else? We have Lakers. The Lakers. They are 3.5-point favorites in San Antonio. LeBron, after a 3 straight triple-doubles, he'll be going out to have a crack at Wemby, but Anthony Davis versus Wemby should be worth the price of admission. Don't mind the Lakers. I think a little bit of depth there. I think I'll take the Lakers minus 3.5 in San Antonio. The Spurs have looked very, very weird and up and down. If Wemby's not hitting 23s over his last 3 games, what are they looking like? So I think they'll have a little bit of a tougher ask against the Lakers. Give me the Lakers against the Spurs minus 3.5. We then have, is that the Clippers at Houston? A rematch from yesterday. I'm going to take the Rockets again, minus 4.5. The Clippers they don't have any defensive answers for Houston. Like, Houston just were so inefficient. We're kicking the crap out of them, then just let them come flying back into it because they just took their foot off the gas. I don't know if Houston will make the same mistake. Give me the Rockets minus 4.5. As long as Jalen Green doesn't just go 21 of 21. Yeah, 21 points on 21 shots yesterday. It was brutal. Denver go to New Orleans. They are 5.5-point favorites against the Pelicans. I'm taking Denver in a heartbeat. Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, hello, up against a banged-up Pelicans. Even in New Orleans, I'm going to go the Nugs. They have to put the foot down and go whoopang. We have OKC hosting the Phoenix Suns. OKC 7.5-point favorites. Phoenix, look, no KD. OKC, no Chet. I still like OKC to be able to throw the raft of defenders they have at Booker and Beal and co. and slow them down. So I'm going to take OKC minus 7.5 there. We have Memphis at Golden State. Now, the Grizzlies just play teams tough. This has already moved from 9.5 favorites for the Warriors to 8.5. I'm still going to take the Grizzlies plus 8.5. They just play teams hard. That's all they do. We saw it against the Grizzlies the other day. They're going to play everybody tough no matter what. They will have the odd blowout when they don't have Jar and Desmond Bain, but they're just a tough team. So give me the Grizzlies in Golden State plus 8.5. We also then have Minnesota at Sacramento. The Kings are 2.5-point underdogs at home. I'm going to take Sacramento there because this Minnesota team on a road trip is just sort of falling off it's going off the rails a little bit. DeMar DeRozan did get banged up last time. He didn't practice. He's listed as doubtful. We'll see what happens if DeMar plays with lower back tightness. He's doubtful for the Friday game. Malik Monk's already out. If DeMar plays, I'll take Sacramento. If not, I'll go Minnesota. They'll get a bit of a bounce back win there in Sacramento, I reckon. We'll see how we go. But that is a very fun NBA Cup Day 2 for you. So Indy minus 4.5 against Miami. Philly plus 0.5 point against Orlando. Detroit basketball, 1.5-point favorites against Toronto. Atlanta minus, what was that one? I've lost that one. Atlanta, 8.5-point favorites against Washington. We'll take those guys. Cleveland minus 10.5 against Chicago. Brooklyn plus 9.5 at the Knicks. Lakers minus 3.5 in San Antonio. Houston minus 4.5 over the Clippers. Denver 5.5-point favorites in New Orleans. OKC as 7.5-point favorites against Phoenix. Memphis plus 8.5 against the Warriors. And Sacramento plus 2.5 if DeMar plays. If not, we're probably going to swing that to Minnesota. That is Saturday. That is a big NBA Cup day. Sunday, we've got Charlotte hosting Milwaukee. Can the Bucks turn around after having just snuck by Detroit to get by Charlotte? I say no. I like Charlotte in this a lot. They're going to play very quick. I think there's going to be a shootout. Charlotte at the line in that one. Charlotte outright as well. Boston hosting Toronto. Boston will kill them. The Lakers take on the Pelicans a day after playing in San Antonio, and the Pelicans hosting Denver. I like the Lakers still in that just. It's a close game. Dallas hosts San Antonio, having not played tomorrow, obviously, because they played today and lost to Utah, which is just still funny. Dallas desperately need a big bounce-back win. They should get it against the Spurs on a back-to-back. Sacramento hosts Utah as well, also on a back-to-back. I think I'll take Sacramento on the Sunday game there. Monday, we have Phoenix at Minnesota. I'll take the Wolves. The makeup of Phoenix against that Wolves team, they would need a half-decent win, I think, the Wolves. I've already talked about how we don't trust them, but I feel like this should be the little run of games where if they can beat Sacramento tomorrow, they can beat Phoenix on Monday. Miami at Indy again. I'm going to go the Pacers again. I do not trust that Miami team, as I've mentioned. Cleveland host Charlotte. Cleveland will smash them. Detroit at Washington. Oh, boy. Detroit should win that. Let's go. Let's go, Pistons. Come on. I'm wearing the Pistons hat. If you're watching on the YouTube. Denver at Memphis. This is a fun, weird game. Memphis will try to out-hustle. The Nuggets. I'll still take Denver. Atlanta, Portland. That is a fun game. I'm not going to get fooled again. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take Portland. Those 2 wins against Minnesota just have thrown me for a loop. So I'm taking Portland in that one. Brooklyn at the Knicks again. I think the Knicks can win that one. I think the Nets cover on the Saturday, but the Knicks are just too good across the board. Chicago host Houston. I will take Chicago at home against the Rockets. There'll be a little bit of, nice little bit of rest for Chicago. They should be okay. They'll have played in Cleveland the day before, 2 days before on the Saturday, in that Saturday game. So they play Cleveland on Saturday and then host Houston on Monday. So, yeah, I'll take Chicago. Dallas, OKC. The way Dallas are playing, no chance. Especially with Dallas on a back-to-back, absolutely no way, sir. No way. OKC in that one. Then Utah at the Clippers. I will take the Clippers on Monday against the Jazz. Or the Yaz, because it's a soft J. And we'll see how we go. But that's it. Massive show for you. Fun times right there. That is NBA Straya done for the week. We'll be back on Monday. We'll see how we go for the Monday thing. And as I mentioned, we might have just a bit of a janky schedule next week because old mate is heading to the States for work. So I'm solo dadding for a week. And I just don't know how we'll go getting all 5 shows in as well as all the other stuff. So maybe one of the days won't have a show. I will let you know what it is. So we'll see what happens. But either way, make sure you're following NBA Straya on Twitter, Facey, IG, TikTok, and YouTube, all the good stuff. Get around NFL Australia as well with myself and Gaz chopping it up about the NFL. Gaz's beloved Eagles just played as well, which is pretty fun. Check us a rating review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, whatever app you use on the Android phone. Like, subscribe, star, comment, leave a review, all that stuff for our shows, please. That'd be really, really handy. I don't ask for much. Do that. We've also still got the AFL Today Show, the AFLW Today Show, the Cricket Today Podcast, the Football Today Podcast, Hold All Tickets. It's all there. All your sporting needs wrapped up for you. So do that. Go rate and review all of them, would you? Come on, help a brother out. Big thanks go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song, as well as House Hats, Joshua De Laurentiis, Fascinator, Goldmines, Ramshackle Alarmy, Iowa, Sex Jedi, Green, and Dozers for all the tunes you hear throughout the show. Smash them all on Bandcamp, Triple J and Earth, Facey, Apple Music, Spotify. Remember, NBA Straya supports Australian bands, so should you. Of course you bloody well will. Are you excited for more NBA Cup action tomorrow? I am. I can't bloody wait. Just on the couch going, get out, Dad's hungover. Come on. I'm watching the basketball. Should be good. All right, we will catch you on Monday, you dickheads. This is NBA Straya saying, look after yourselves, would ya? Smash a few tins over the weekend. Have a good one. Enjoy cooking with Baynesy at the end of this. And little Hosanna!
Cooking with Baynesy is filmed in front of a live studio audience. And now it's time for Cooking with Baynesy with your host, Aaron Bangers Baines. Yeah. All right, g'day. Oh, g'day. Oh, look at yourself. Yes, g'day, Cheryl. I always see you down the front. Yeah. All right. Oh, come on, settle down. Thanks very much. Yes, welcome to Cooking with Baynesy. I'm your host, Aaron Bangers Baines. And look, on this here episode, we are going to whip up one of my all-time absolute Aussie favourites. It's going to blow your mind. You can have it whenever. It's an absolute bloody treat. It is the classic party pie. Yeah, that's right. We're going to cook up some party pies for you on this episode of Cooking with Baynesy. Now, I love me some party pies. They're easy as, mate. Definitely helps keep up this physique, you know what I'm saying? I reckon I probably put away about 40 of these buggers per week, eh? Easy. All right, so. All right, you ready? So it's bloody simple, mate. Yes, all you gotta do is go down to your local soupy and just grab a box of party pies of whatever takes your fancy. Because look, now, I like the round ones, and you can get a pack of 24 of patties, but I do also like the 4 and 20 party pies, which come in those rectangles. They're a bit easier to eat because you can just grab the end and you're not going to burn your tongue. So whatever you prefer, just don't fuck around with the party packs. The sausage rolls are absolutely bloody rubbish. So, now, it's bloody simple. Just preheat your oven to 250 degrees or as hot as you bloody well want. Dump all 24 of your party pies. Don't screw around and only do 12 or half of them or whatever. Put all 24 out there because you're going to eat all of them. Trust me, you're going to eat all of them. When she's all heated up, your oven, put your tray in there. Just, I don't know, look at the back of the package. See that it says 30 minutes. Now, go crack a tin. Sit back. Hang out. Once they're done, grab them out. Load them up with a bit of tomato sauce. And Bob's your bloody uncle. That is awesome, isn't it? Just look at it now. Look. This is very important. Give them a second to cool down. You probably have to only bite like the edge of one of them to open it up just to see how hot it is. Because otherwise you'll burn your bloody tongue because the insides of these buggers are like bloody molten lava, eh? So grab yourself another tin. Wait for them to cool down just a little bit so they're not bloody molten lava. Then get your bloody munch on. Oh, there you go. Look at this one. That's an absolute bloody ripper. The best bit is these are as good as anything for any occasion. You got mates coming around, party pies. Missus with some of her mates, party pies. Kid's birthday, party pies. Getting home shit-faced after a night out of the Terps, party pies. Easy. They're just bloody delicious, mate. All right, look, I'm just going to munch in this, and I'll probably cook up enough of them for all of you. Look at this. Here we go. Oh, how easy is that? Love it. All right, so get into the party pies. And that's it for this week. How easy. All right, tune in next week for a new recipe, and we'll see you then on the next episode of Cooking with Baynesy.